Since Sea Spray is in fact a boat, will he float? Woo!
Hello there, I'm Sea Spray.
I can't do Sea Spray's voice. We're here today to talk about this little guy, but more importantly, I want to talk about a modern interpretation of him that I really love. But I love Sea Spray because, for one, this is one of the few bots that still remains in my collection from my childhood. So this guy somehow lasted with me these 400 years since, I was a kid. And that's why I love him. But also, I just loved him as a kid. He's small and, not the coolest, almost has a GoBot vibe because he's not very big and his transformation isn't the best. But he's a cargo hovercraft and I just think he's awesome. And I just loved him as a kid. And that's probably one of the reasons that somehow he managed to survive to this day. Not much to him, right? For a quick transformation. Kind of all you got to do. And there you go. You got Sea Spray. Let's set him down. Whoop. Okay. Let's back it up a bit. Pop his legs up. There you go. G1 Sea Spray. Love the guy. Love him so much, in fact, that I eventually got on eBay and purchased this Sea Spray on card. Just because I don't own a lot of bots on card, but I wanted to own him on card because it's so nostalgic for me. You remember these original G1, although I guess he was G2, but the boxes, how they came, showed you the transformation right on the back. Excuse me, not complicated. You got the points here that you could send in to trade in for other items. Collect enough of these and you could send away and get something else. Did any of you do that, by the way? And if you did, I'd love to know what you purchased with your robot points that you got off the back of Transformers in the 80s. That'd be cool to know. And of course you have here his stats on the side that you would use the little red decoder to determine his things like strength, intelligence, things like that. The main reason I purchased this, though, what really sold it for me was this thing right here, this Kmart sticker. Like, I mean, that just hit me. Kmart 357. Can you imagine? So, most of the toy shopping I did, most of the toy gazing I did when I was a kid was at a Kmart in our town. So it was really cool to see this old Kmart sticker on here. So that's Sea Spray, and I love him. And by the way, I've already done a short talking about his main episode in Transformers, sort of his introduction, and it's insane. And I'd like to show you that now because why go over the whole story again when I've also already made a story about it. So here's the insane and insanely awesome sort of breakdown of Sea Spray's episode in the original G1 Transformers cartoon. Do you remember that time a Transformer hooked up with a human-like alien?
Sea Spray here at your service.
It wasn't creepy at all. On the planet Talalicon, Decepticons were draining the inhabitants of their energy and smacking them with electro whips. It was Bumblebee and Sea Spray to the rescue, but whoops, somebody's in love. Fighting to save her planet, Alana often found herself on a boat. The planet's well of change would allow Alana to turn into a robot.
You like?
But it would also allow Sea Spray to turn flesh and blood.
Oh! Ouch!
What the fuck? Oh, I see. Funny. Ultimately, Sea Spray chose his robot form because...
We don't have to be the same outside to share the same feeling inside.
And they rode off into the distance. Okay, so we're going to transform Sea Spray back and kind of put him out of the way. Just kind of make sure his fists fit in the little holes there and you're good to go. And there's OG Sea Spray. Now what I absolutely love is this 2010 version of Sea Spray right here. I'll put some information in on this line real quick, just, to torture my future editing self. I'd like to put a little bar explaining this line a little bit. But essentially, what this Hunt for Decepticons line was, in this Transformers line from 2010, it was mostly like Transformers that didn't necessarily make it into the movie at the time. The Transformers movies, the Bay movies, right? You had all the main characters and they had a toy line for them, but they needed more toys. So you have this extra line, Hunt for Decepticons, and you had online games right here, which you can see, Transformers.com. You cannot play those games anymore that I'm aware of, but you can certainly go on YouTube and see what those were like. Some of them looked like a decent amount of fun. Some of them were sort of cheap puzzle games. But anyway, that was what this line was. And this, of course, is a modern interpretation of Sea Spray, cargo hovercraft. Although, if you squint, I do believe in, I want to say Revenge of the Fallen, and I'll correct myself if I got that wrong. There are some hovercraft that show up in Egypt to bring some soldiers to fight, you know, the Devastator and all that. And we can, if we want to, imagine that those hovercraft were, at least one of them was Sea Spray. So here I like these boxes. You see also available here, Night Ops Ratchet. You can see that he's a Voyager class. On the back, you see his robot in alt mode. Double harpoon launchers, which, by the way, I'll say it again, the Transformers toys in the 2010s, early 2010s were just funner. They still, like the 90s era, they had the mech tech, they shot things, you know, they were still, I think, more fun for kids. But it has double harpoons. Most Scout class vehicles sold separately fit inside, which is awesome. And his feet, for some reason, well, we know why, but convert to flippers, and that's pretty silly, but we'll show you that in a bit. And here's the other side of the box. You can pause if you want to read that little bit about Sea Spray there. But anyway, I don't want to leave him in the box. I want to get him out, and I want to talk about why I think this is the most underrated, well, not most underrated, but a very underrated figure, and one I love a whole lot. Especially love since it's based on one of my favorite G1 characters. You know, I love the update. I think he looks cool. So let's get him out of the box. Okay, so here we have Robot Mode Sea Spray, and I just love this dude. I love the color scheme, the blue, the copper, the white. The details on the face here are just fantastic. He's got the face mask and the snorkel for going underwater. Like, it's just too cool. You see he got Sea Spray written there on his chest. On the side here as well. Here I've got his harpoon guns right here, and these things do shoot. Okay, we had to pause for a second because I dropped the guns, and one of them went flying and went under, you know, it was a whole thing. But let's put that back in there. And so there we go. We got them loaded, and boom, they shoot, and that one's gone. I'll have to find that again in a minute. These are powerful. These shoot pretty far, so they're fun, but I'm going to have to pause again and find that so we can put him back on Sea Spray here in a bit. Let's get another look. Even in the back, I think he looks great. There's not a lot of, you know, wide open spaces. His legs close up nicely. The backpack looks good, almost looks like oxygen tanks. I mean, everything just works. Everything just makes him look massive and menacing. He's got good arm articulation. You know, is pretty decent. The legs are okay. The legs might be the weakest part because they do, you know, like kind of the hips, the thighs kind of thrust out in the front a little bit, and that could be a little awkward. But by the way, here are his convertible flippers, which I suppose, you know, that means he's going in the water. He's got the flippers. They also will just help him stand a little better, which is nice. But as far as the head, I know people like articulation. It does kind of go left and right a bit. Shoulders can go up and down, all that kind of fun stuff. And so, yeah, he's fairly posable, not bad, but I just honestly just love the look of this guy. The fact that he comes from this and somehow it just kind of works. Like if you look at the colors side by side, you know, they're fairly out. You've got the blue, you've got the yellow into the copper or gold there and the white, and it just works well. I really like him. So for the transformation, I actually have made, once again, I have a nice video of the transformation process, so we can cut to that now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about him as a boat. And then, since he is a boat, we're going to see if he can float. Okay, y'all, don't fire these harpoons off without a plan. It's been a while. This thing was gone. It took me a long time to dig it out from behind some other things, but I also found this, so that's cool. I know Prime is going to be pretty happy about that. So here we have our transformed Sea Spray into this amazing cargo hovercraft. For most part, I might not have squeezed him well enough. You saw from the transformation process, it's a very tight transformation, and I just think it looks amazing. If you've done it right and locked everything in, you almost wouldn't know this thing transforms, which I just love that. Everything snaps in so tightly once you have everything correct. In fact, I don't. There we go. There we go. Even better. I'm keeping that in. Okay. So here we have it. Sea Spray, the boat, the hovercraft, looking amazing. And of course you can kind of adjust these how you want them. The little wind funnels in the back. Where's our box? So kind of like how we have them with it pointed the right way. No, we want to flip these around, right? There we go. And then we can push them out. Nice. There we go. Okay. So now we can put the harpoons on the side like this. Nice weapon storage, but also just looks really cool. Kind of aim them up. I like to kind of aim them up a bit. There we go. And he's a cargo ship, and this bit here can go down or stay up like that. And it just looks really cool. But what I learned was he is in fact a cargo ship, and like the box says, he will, most scout classes will fit in the back. And more specifically, when I was planning to do a video about this and looking into it a little more, I found out that Breacher, he's the guy that's meant to go in there. So what did I do? I had to pick up Breacher, right? So we have Breacher here, Autobot Breacher, teamed up with his friend Sea Spray. He comes crashing out of the surf to deliver a nasty shock to Crank Start, right? So anyway, this is Breacher, and he's sort of the main scout class of 2010 that's meant to go in here, so I had to pick him up. So as much as I hate to do it, I don't buy them to keep them in the box. We're going to get him out of the box. We're going to get him transformed, and we're going to put him in back here in the back of Sea Spray. Since this is a scout class, I mean, sometimes you can try and do this neatly, right, and preserve the box, which maybe we can. But you know what? I don't want to keep them in the box. Let's cut the tape. Always cut towards yourself. And there we go. We have ourselves a Breacher. Now, I don't know too much about this character. Honestly, I don't know if he was literally created just for the game or if he's an older character. I'm sorry. I don't know at all. But I will check and I will confirm that. But yeah, he's a little scout class. Let's see if we can get a better look at him. Got his little Autobot logo there. Blue. He kind of matches the general color scheme of Sea Spray. The back doesn't look too great. Don't care for that too much. But the front is pretty cool. And he's got a basic little twin blaster weapon here. So that's kind of cool. But that's not really what we care about. We want to see him in his alt mode. We want to see him hop in the back of Sea Spray. So let's get him transformed and do just that. Okay, I'm not going to lie. That wasn't the most pleasant experience. And I'm probably not going to do a transformation of this commander. What is it? What do they call it? Core class? Scout class. It was, I think we're good. I think it's mostly snapped into place. And he does look pretty cool like this. His weapon connects here and swivels up and down, so that's kind of fun. Breacher. I mean, I really do like the look of him, and I'm sure, you know, it's first time issues, and the instructions were not super helpful. And I don't know if someone's made a transformation online for this, but I just went for it, and it looks pretty good. Anyway, so he's meant to fit right in here, which he does perfectly. And so there we have it. Sea Spray with Scout right here, Sea Spray with Breacher right here in the back. I suppose we could turn them around like this, show up, put this down, although, you know, it doesn't quite reach the ground, but then you can have Breacher roll right off, be ready for action, or ride back up. Anyway, Breacher, like, if he's like this, I guess that's fine, because that just kind of sits there. He can ride like that, and you're good to go. He does fit pretty snug. I do like him a little more this way, because it kind of slides in there a bit. But that's Sea Spray with Breacher. But again, finally, I just have to say, from the shots you've seen of this guy, I hope you appreciate him as much as I do. I love this Sea Spray. I love the similarities and the differences between this and my G1 guy there. I just think that's a fun update. But the other thing we could do is put G1 Sea Spray right there in him as well. And there we go. That's Sea Spray. One of my favorites from the 2010s. Just an absolute underrated gem, I think. And yeah, glad to add this guy to my collection. There you go. Guys, I almost forgot the final but most important question. Since Sea Spray is in fact a boat, will he float? I mean, you know, we want to take him in the bathtub with us and play, right? He's a boat. Let's find out. He doesn't. Of course he doesn't float. What's wrong with you guys? Why'd you make me do this? Now I have to dry him off. Bunch of jerks.